Good morning, everyone. Nice to see everyone joining this morning. Even though we're in that in-between time in the holiday week. So hoping that a few of you, or a good number of you, might have a little bit of time off.
Yeah, you know, Suzanne, I was thinking about how we're in this sort of week that is unusual. It's like the ending of something and the beginning of something else. And there's a word that's sometimes used to describe that called liminal space, which I think is so interesting because it's like this, it feels like it holds a lot of possibility, you know, that there's like, it has an expectant feel to it almost, and unknowing, and then I think you add the pandemic in too, and there's, you know, there's a lot in this kind of Loretta, so liminal, L-I-M, and I would, it's really interesting. I would look it up. Yeah, liminal space. Yeah, yes.
It sounds very interesting. You know, it sounds very.
Yeah. I mean, because there's a lot of, you know, we have these various moments like that where something else hasn't quite started yet and something else is at its end, you know, and it can feel both unsettling and exciting and kind of ripe with possibility, but the unsettledness too, you know, so there is value in kind of feeling the impact of it in our bodies. Like, what does it feel like? You know, and I know some people are off this week and some people are working, and no matter what your professional or personal life, it is a bit of an unusual week.
Yeah, and I really like how you're calling attention. This is why I like these sessions are so, I'm hoping they're helpful for other folks too, but they're so helpful for me as well, because we're calling attention to how we react to things in such a subtle way that we get busy during our work time or our life, and we need to pay attention to that. So I'm,
no, it's so true. And like, there is a little bit of space often for us to kind of resist the temptation to distract yourself, you know, because I think sometimes, especially with uncertainty, and as Loretta's pointing out too, in the context of COVID, right? So we've been in liminal space in the context of COVID for a long time.
Right. Well, it's wonderful to have everyone here. So thank you for joining. And as you know, this is a place where we invite experienced mindfulness instructors to speak with us about what mindfulness means to them, and then to discuss as a community how we can incorporate these practices into our daily lives. And this is our Mind the Moment Thursday morning gathering, brought to you by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. So got all that out there. And I'm Suzanne Rowe, Palacino. And if you're joining us for the very first time, we're so happy to have you. Really, really happy to have you. And I am happy to be joined today on Thursday by Tara Healey, founder and director of Harvard Pilgrim's Mindfulness Program. So good morning again, Tara.
Good morning, Suzanne, and good morning, everyone. And I echo the welcome. If some of you are new and have not joined, welcome. You know, I am delighted that you're here and looking forward to doing some practice this morning.
Yeah. Yes. So we will start off with a question. Tara will start us off with a question, and then have a little discussion, lead us in a guided practice. If after that, we'll have time for questions and chat. So go ahead down to the bottom of your screen and open up that chat. And that will give you an opportunity to click that blue drop-down menu at the bottom where it says, there's a drop-down menu. You can click on everyone. And that will give you a chance to see the comments coming in as they come in. And a quick announcement for those that haven't joined us before or weren't here for the last number of weeks, we will be adding a Wednesday morning session. And we're very, very excited about this. Folks had asked for the opportunity for a session where we could have a little bit more direct questions and answers, and also be able to see one another on Zoom if that's something, if people want to turn their cameras on. So this will be a Zoom meeting format versus this format, which is a webinar format. So Tuesdays and Thursdays will say exactly the same, just like this. Wednesday will be a Zoom meeting format where we will be able to see the different windows of folks joining from wherever they're joining from. Again, camera's optional, and that will be at 8:30 starting this coming Wednesday. The link I've shared this morning, but I will send it again. And here we go. So we're very excited about that. And looks like Loretta said it's been hard to focus this week. Yeah. Like what Tara mentioned, it's one of those, it's like a limbo week. So maybe the timing is good to all be together supporting one another in our practice.
Yeah, and this is the last one of the year, right? So the last, but I want to just go back, Suzanne, to encourage folks to join Wednesdays, because it is going to be, while all three, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, are Zoom, Wednesday is going to offer the webinar or the meeting format, which will allow people, it's cameras optional. So it's like Brady Bunch, everybody can see each other, or you could have your camera off, whatever feels most comfortable. But it will allow for much more interaction, and there won't be a guest. So every Tuesday and Thursday, Suzanne is the host and there's a guest teacher, but Wednesdays is going to be Suzanne on her own leading these. So it gives a, 3 days a week and a little bit of a different format for practice. So please join. I'm looking forward to joining next week.
Yeah, and on that point, so that I think because of the different format, more interaction, more opportunity for questions on whatever the teaching is, and we'll still give the same amount of time for practice, meditation practice, with guidance. So
great.
Yeah.
All right. So let me get to the question this morning, which is, it actually comes from Tim Ferriss, who is kind of an entrepreneur. He's an author. He's a kind of motivational speaker. He's a person who looks at habits of other people. And he has this thing that he's been doing to kind of recognize the past year, as opposed to making a New Year's resolution, which is, all of us have probably done this at some point. You think of something that you would like to make happen in the new year. And what he says, do a review of the past year and think about what are those things you've done that have nourished you, that have fed you, that you want to do more of. And what are those things that have been really drawn your energy, have not been great. And then he just sort of has you do an assessment. So of course we don't have time for all of that, but I would say, is there one or two things as you reflect on the past year that you would like to make sure to bring into the next year? And he also talks about getting it on the calendar. So not just making like the affirmation to do it, but actually putting it on your calendar. So is there anything you did this past year, one or two things that you want to continue doing, and that you're willing to get on the calendar? So Suzanne, while people are thinking, let's start with you.
Yeah, and as you think about that, just go ahead and add it into the chat. One thing that definitely comes to mind is my walks in the woods. Those started during the beginning part of our lockdown, just because frankly, I had a cold, and I felt like if I was walking around my neighborhood, everybody would think I was, a little bit more sick. So I decided to go off into the forest and kind of be on my own with my dog. And it's just been, so nurturing. Yeah. So definitely that. And yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
And more one-on-one time with my dog, because I have noticed that a lot.
That's great. That even narrows the focus even a little bit more. There's a bunch of things coming in, so I wanna see, but I'll just quickly say that I think doing more with family and friends, like deliberately booking like lunches or, because I am pretty isolated where I live. It's a little bit far, and I, have had friends over for lunch, and Suzanne being one of them, and I just love that. So I just want to do more of that, and that's pretty easy to schedule. So there are lots of other things too over the past year, but that's one.
Yeah, I love that, being intentional about it. I think because of the circumstance, I think we have to plan things more.
Right.
Because of, testing or whatever. And I feel like that's a great
Yeah,
plan.
no, I know. Nourish this practice. Joining several activities, bowling, dance, yeah, and how much it's enriched. Water aerobics.
And I love this, when reaching out to friends from the past. That's something.
Oh.
Like I had Zoom meetings with people I literally hadn't seen in 20 years, just because people were available during the day.
Yeah. Yeah, wow, this is great. Thank you all so much.
Schedule of donations to organizations that near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
Displaced by fire.
Keep up meditation practice. Yeah. And doing more of this, and like the thing is, we've added a day, so it makes it accessible, and it's a hard practice to do alone, so we have this really nice community.
I love the comment about coaching my daughter versus telling her. What a great reminder.
Yeah. Focusing on the whole person, mental, whatever. Yeah. I connected with high school friends from 40 years ago. I have a friend that did the same, and they meet once a week over Zoom. She's loving it. I continue to make my recent retirement purposeful without feeling guilty. Yeah. I mean, again, we're so conditioned around, what it means to be a professional, quote, productive person. And I love, Teresa, what you're saying here is, yes.
Giving room for creativity, I love
too.
Because, many of us had the chance. So
Yeah.
now we have to, maybe now that we're back in our quote, regular lives, whatever that means for you.
Right.
We have to make a little more space for it. So I love that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
Totally.
you for all the great comments.
I know.
Gives us some ideas for our own lives. Service to others. Yes.
Feels so good. Yeah. So true. Well, with that, let's hold these aspirations as we practice this morning. So sitting or standing, whatever feels like it's going to serve you best this morning. As always, eyes open or closed. And I'll start us off with just kind of a grounding body practice, and then we'll move to selecting an anchor to help ground and anchor our attention, but lightly, so, and then we'll end with a little bit of loving kindness. All right. So settle in to the posture that feels best, that's going to serve you. If you're sleepy, standing will be really helpful. Sitting in a way that is upright. And the word that I like is engaged, so this is not a passive practice. It's very much a practice that's engaged. And so the spine is straight but not stiff. Again, eyes open or closed. Just taking a moment to kind of notice how things are. Assuming that many of you have had some activity already this morning, whether it's having breakfast or helping kids or Whatever you were doing this morning, just notice how the body feels, like what's the physical expression in the body from whatever you've done this morning. No pulsing or vibration, again, it's like you're a scientist and a subject. What's the raw data that your body's offering you? That could also be tied in with not so much activity, but just the emotions that you're feeling this morning, however you might have woken up, whatever is on your mind. Kind of leaving the narrative in the background and just settling into the physicality, like the body. How are things this morning? Notice the points of contact with the back of the body, soles of the feet, perhaps. Hands resting on your thighs or alongside of the body or wherever they're resting. Those points of contact are really helpful. Notice any pulsing or vibration. So we're really starting with whole body awareness. Keying into those places in the body that are calling you, that feel like the sensation is strongest. Could be abdomen or chest or someplace else. Taking a moment now to take in sound in the room or outside of the room. Just with the label hearing. Doesn't matter what's making the sound, no need to add that on, just literally hearing. And bringing awareness from outside, either the room or outside the room, and bringing it back inward to the body. And of course, allowing sound to be as it is, in the background, not a problem. And begin to notice the rhythm of your breath. No need to change your breath or make it different, but just taking a moment to notice how you're breathing. Occasionally, the noticing can change the rhythm. That's okay. So just breathing in and breathing out. Gentle and kind with your body, with the mind. See if you can notice where the sensation of breath is strongest for you. Could be abdomen, chest. Could be something else. Just the overall rhythm of the body. Allow those sensations to serve as an anchor each time the mind wanders. So basically, you're tracking the in-breath, tracking the sensations of the out-breath. The mind will wander as soon as you notice it. Soft mental note thinking. Soften the body, because thinking always produces a subtle contraction in the body that we don't notice typically. So as soon as you know you've drifted, it's not a problem. You're actually doing it correctly. Just label thinking, soften, and then return to breath sensation or touch, points of contact. That's also fine. And so is sound. So you can play around with that a little bit. And I'm going to be quiet for the next few minutes. Noticing where the mind is. Soft mental note thinking. Notice the body, soften any subtle contraction. And resume tracking your anchor, whether that's breath or sound or body sensation of some kind. Noticing again where the mind is. Soft mental note thinking, soften the body, and return. As we bring this meditation to a close, may we be peaceful and at ease. May our heart be soft and open. May we be safe and protected, and our bodies healthy and strong. And may we wish the same for all those we know and we don't know. And may the merit and the goodwill of our practice be for the benefit of everyone, of all beings. I'll count back from 3 to 1. So 3, 2, and 1. As you feel ready, if your eyes were closed, take a minute to open. And I always think it's helpful to just look around a little bit and just to reorient to your space. And yeah.
Thank you, Tara.
Yeah. So I would love to hear how the practice felt for you this morning. If there's anything at all you want to share, and I think I add this reminder almost every time that we're not trying to make anything special happen, including a good feeling. We're trying to see if we can actually be with the feeling that we're in. And ultimately what you see is the nature of that particular feeling is impermanent. It has, and that ultimately brings quite a lot of peace. That's why it's good to start with an itch or a muscle cramp. without trying to knead it out or scratching the itch. It's like you can start with the small, like it's unpleasant, right? Those are unpleasant sensations. It's also the same with emotions. But to bring interest and curiosity to it without actually scratching it or, yeah.
Yeah, and that brings me to the thought, Tara, that how important this time is for us to sit either together or whenever we can find something, because when else during our day do we typically see how we're reacting to things?
Right. Yeah. And when else during the day are we with a community like this, right? Like where you are with people that care about opening in the same way that you do, that, we're all together in one place at one time. It's pretty unusual.
Yeah. Good way to start the day from my standpoint, hopefully, as well as yours. So someone's mentioned thoughts went into planning mode. I kept redirecting to the breath, and
and one of the so Angela, and really for everybody, is instead of saying thinking, when you see you're in planning mode, you can say planning, soften, and then return. So you can be specific, it could be worried or anxious or planning, like you can specifically name it. And it's like the culprit has been seen in a way, like I see you and not now, like you're back in the driver's seat. And it's practice. That's why it's called practice. We are aligning our intentions, our motivations, we're aligning in a very, we're inclining the mind in a very particular way. Because the thing is that this is the nature of mind. Thoughts that we don't want are going to slip in. And that actually is a really helpful, and I think everybody, we talk about this a lot, the recognition that you don't know what's going to come up, and we all have habits and patterns of mind, and it's okay, but you're actually saying when that happens, planning, soften, not now, return.
Yeah. And we in our meditation training and learning have understood that noticing and then going back is actually strengthening the neurons in our brain, and it's a moment of mindfulness. It's actually helping us to strengthen those neurons and those circuits, so that when we're out in our regular lives and we notice something maybe triggered by something, we can we can actually be curious about it rather than react to it. It's and like Tara said,
right. I mean, all of this is for the sake of employing in daily life, right? Like, that's because we don't do this so we're awake and aware just when we're practicing. We do this so we can employ that quality of mind in the service of all of our interactions, how we drive, how we speak to one another, to see our motivations and our intentions with much greater clarity. And to be kind, be kind. Our motivations tend to be mixed. It's okay. You just want to see that. There's nothing to do about it, but the knowing of it is helpful.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Tara, for joining us again this Thursday morning. And thank you for everyone and for your comments and questions. I love what Sarah's saying here too. It's pat yourself on the back each time you notice you've wandered, and because that's a moment of being, you are awake, you are aware. It's a meta awareness. You know where your attention is and you can redirect. It's that you can aim and sustain, so you're you're more in the driver's seat. That's where of your attention. But Happy New Year, everybody. Yes. Yes, Happy New Year. And I'll share one more time for those folks that might have.
Oh, the link. Yeah, yeah. Great.
Next Wednesday, our Wednesday morning session will be starting, and the link I've just posted, and there is a password for it. So I wanted to remind folks that, to copy and paste what you see there, and we'll also put it up on the Facebook page.
Yeah, and yeah, it'll be on the Harvard Pilgrim. It'll be around. So, but it's, I think, helpful if you can hang on to it too.
Yes, and share
Yeah.
it. Please do
Share it. Oh, share it. Yeah. Please share with your friends and family. Again, these are complimentary sessions. We are getting together with folks that, again, like I said, it's like a community where we don't find this every day, that sitting with ourselves in this particular way is challenging. It's challenging.
Yes,
So,
definitely.
yeah. So thank you.
Thank you for all the New Year wishes. Back to all of you. Happy New Year. And we will see you next year with Greg Topakian on Tuesday morning.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Yeah, what a great way to start, because he was Tuesday. He was right. Yeah. So 2 weeks in a row with Greg.
He'll be 3 in a row. It'll be the Suzanne and Greg show for a little while on Tuesday.
Great.
So hope to see you all.
No, that's great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, take care, everyone. See you soon.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.